I guarantee that you all have probably seen Michael Jackson's Thriller, but how much do you know about the making of? Stay tuned, I'm going to be talking about 4 things that you might not have known about making Michael Jackson's Thriller. You won't want to miss it. You are now watching MJ Fangirl TV.
Girl, you got to and touch the sky, you
Alright, so before we jump into it, if you're new here, my name is MJ Fangirl and I am a lifelong Michael Jackson fan. I make videos here on this channel all about the Michael Jackson fandom, my fan experiences, and of course about Michael Jackson, his music, his art, and all that fun stuff. So if you're interested in content like that, make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up because that helps to spread my videos to other Michael Jackson fans on the World Wide Web. Now let's get on into it. I just first want to let you guys know that a lot of people have assumed throughout the years that my favorite Michael Jackson televised, special, documentary, movie, anything kind of in that genre has been MOONWALKER. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of it, as you can tell by my poster behind me. But making Michael Jackson's Thriller was honestly like that program that showed me who Michael was as a person. I know that some of you guys can probably understand this if you've seen it, but watching Thriller is one thing, watching Michael on stage is one thing, watching him perform in his short films is one thing, but seeing who he is as a person, seeing not only like his playful nature, but also seeing his drive, his passion, his willingness to be put through anything. You know, Michael was sitting there in hours of makeup, yellow contacts burning his eyes, hours and hours of rehearsal, seeing him around other people. That was really what introduced me to Michael Jackson as a person. So I really think that making Michael Jackson's Thriller has a special place in my heart, and I feel like we just don't talk about it enough. So making Michael Jackson's Thriller, which us fans lovingly always call the making of Thriller, but it's really called Making Michael Jackson's Thriller, came out almost a year and a half after the Thriller album was released. This came out on VHS home video on December 15th, 1983. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, Making Michael Jackson's Thriller introduced me and fans all over the world to Michael Jackson's personality, the dedication to his art, and the fact that it really did take a team to make all of this happen. Number 2 is something that I honestly didn't know until I started doing my own research. Before this was released on home video, the Making Michael Jackson's Thriller was actually shown on both MTV and Showtime. Now number 3 I think is like honestly the most interesting factoid. The Making Michael Jackson's Thriller documentary is actually what helped to fund the making of the Thriller short film. I'm gonna actually put this down because I'm getting tired of holding it, but y'all have seen it already. So Thriller was the 7th and final single from the Thriller album. What I think a lot of people, like fans like myself who were born post-Thriller era, might not realize is that the Thriller album was already highly successful. So many great songs had already come out as singles. You have The Girl Is Mine and Billie Jean and Beat It, and I mean, how much more could one person want? It was already the most, you know, a high #1 ranking album. Michael had done some great things on the charts with the album, so the record label was like, we don't really need a video for Thriller, you probably did enough. But Michael had a vision and he really wanted to create this music video, and he was actually gonna post his own money up. He was gonna put his own money up instead of asking the record label, who already refused, to make the music video. He was gonna pay for the music video himself because that's how passionate he was about making Thriller. But I just also want to edit to add, it wasn't that CBS Records wasn't willing to pay for a music video, it's just that the budget that Michael Jackson had for Thriller was double the amount that CBS Records was willing to pay. In Michael Jackson's autobiography, Moonwalk, he actually credits John Branca, who is now the co-executor of his estate, but at that time was just, you know, his lawyer, one of the lawyers on his team. He credits him with coming up with the idea to do a making of behind-the-scenes documentary, and I'm gonna read you this quote from Moonwalk here. John Branca suggested that we make a separate video financed by somebody else about the making of the Thriller video. It seemed odd that no one else had ever done this before. We felt sure it would be an interesting documentary, and at the same time it would help pay for our doubled budget. It didn't take John long to put this deal together. he got MTV and Showtime Cable Network to put up the cash, and Vestron Video later released the video after Thriller aired. Now I also want to include that John Landis, who directed the video, actually credits George Folsey Jr., who produced the video, and who John Landis had worked with as a team for a long time on various different projects throughout his career. He credits George Folsey Jr. with the idea of coming up with making Michael Jackson's Thriller. So I don't know which one is true, but the truth is that John Branca is the actual lawyer who ended up creating and negotiating the deal and making the deal to get the money possible. Now, I also did some additional research, which I printed here, so I'm going to read this if you guys don't mind. According to a Time magazine article from late December 1983 entitled Sing a Song of Seeing, MTV paid $250,000 for exclusivity rights to air the documentary, and Showtime paid an additional $300,000 for it. They then had more than enough money to shoot the 14-minute short film. Now keep in mind, that might not sound like enough money today, but keep in mind we're talking about years of inflation. I have no idea how much that might be in today's money. If any of you guys is a mathematician or good at that stuff, the total here that I see is $550,000 in 1983 money. I don't know what that equals in 2019, but it sure is a gang of money. So the third thing that I want to mention that I think a lot of people might not know is that making Michael Jackson's Thriller was actually not directed by John Landis. John Landis directed Michael Jackson's Thriller music video, but Jerry Kramer is actually the person who directed the Making of Michael Jackson's Thriller documentary. The documentary was 45 minutes and it covered so much ground. It covered information about the wardrobe, to the makeup transformation, to the leading lady, Miss Ola Ray, to the dance rehearsals, to just the soundtrack and the story behind how John Landis and Michael Jackson became to work together. It also goes through a little bit of Michael Jackson's career up until that point. So Making Michael Jackson's Thriller covers a lot of ground, and you have to keep in mind that while John Landis was busy directing the video, Jerry Kramer was behind the scenes directing what was going on while they were creating it. The last fact that I'd like to share about the Making of Michael Jackson's Thriller is that Jerry Kramer, who directed the Making documentary, actually came back to work with Michael again on MOONWALKER. So if you remember in the beginning, one of the opening scenes in MOONWALKER after Michael Jackson performs Man in the Mirror, there's like a slow pan of like Michael Jackson's dresser and vanity. It shows like his makeup and rhinestone belts and a glove and some awards, and it actually pans to the television and shows a clip of Michael Jackson's Thriller, which I believe is a short, small ode to the work that they did before. Alright guys, so those are just some simple facts that I wanted to share about Making Michael Jackson's Thriller. Making Michael Jackson's Thriller was just one of those videos that I've always cherished, and I really would love to see this come out on DVD. It's not something that I'm in a rush to see on DVD, but maybe something for like the 50th anniversary of the Thriller music video. What do you think? If you're from the estate, could you jot that down somewhere? I think we'd all love to have that on DVD or on streaming capacity in somehow, because I'm sure that some of you guys are watching this and being like, MJ Fangirl, who watches DVDs anymore? Alright guys, I'm kind of old, showing my age. Alright guys, so that's my time for today. I'm gonna get ready and get out of here. Make sure that we get the discussion popping below. Leave a comment and let me know, have you ever watched Making Michael Jackson's Thriller in full? And if so, let me know what your favorite part is. I'd love to know. So yeah, leave me a comment. Also, if you want to keep up with me on a more day-to-day basis, make sure that you follow me on Twitter or on Instagram. Instagram is honestly where I update the most, but Twitter, I'm on and off there some days as well. So thank you so much for watching. Again, make sure that you subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Everything is broken, the reason I'm alive.